Many thanks for clicking on to attheraces.com as we look forward to the 2013 Cheltenham Festival, and now looking at the second race of the meeting, the Racing Post Arkle. Pro punter and racing analyst Andy Gibson is with us here in the studio to have a look at the key contenders for this year's renewal, and let's check out the betting. Of course, a hot favourite here, Simonsig, 8-11. Overturn his main rival at 11-4. It's 9-1 for the Willie Mullins trained Arvika Ligeonniere. Captain Conan at 16s and 25-1 bar those. So Simonsig's been one of the talking horses of the meeting, and he's trained by Nicky Henderson.
We haven't denied whether to even keep it back for the champion hurdle this year and not even bother to go chasing. But he's built like a chaser. He'd won point to point in Ireland. He's got huge amount of speed. So we were always going to come back to 2 miles this year, having won the Neptune last year. We were always going to come back to 2 miles this year, be it over hurdles or fences.
So Simonsig for Nicky Henderson, very warm favourite for the Arkle. He's probably, Andy, short on experience, but he's big on talent.
Absolutely, he's been absolutely brilliant. Obviously, he's a hot favourite, as much to do with his hurdle form as his chase form. His chase form doesn't amount to much in terms of the 2 runs, but in both of those runs, he's looked an exceptional talent. And you would think that if everything goes right for him, he'll be tracking Overturn between the final 2 fences, and the likeliest outcome, I would think, would be for Simonsig to win with a little bit to spare. And
people talk about Overturn going off fast in front. If anything, that's going to suit him as a buzzy horse, and to have a fast lead in a race is going to play into his hands.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously you've got Arvika Ligeonniere as well. I think Overturn, Arvika Ligeonniere, Simonsig tracking the 2. I think you couldn't set the race up better for Simonsig. But you know, on the negative side, he's only had 2 races over fences. They've both been on heavy ground. They've both been small fields. This could end up being a small field, but it'll be a fast and furious pace. He hasn't had that yet, and I think the probability is he'll be fine. But it is, again, it's an unknown, and you've got to factor that into the price. And
he did miss his prep run as well, Simonsig. He's only had the 2 starts over fences, as Andy said. One horse who's had 3 starts over fences. He's won them all. He'll go from the front. He's Overturn, and he's trained by Donald McCain.
He's a fantastic little horse, and he seems to have really taken to fences, so I'm just hoping we get a bit of nice ground for the first day of the festival, and then we'll see what happens.
Would you be going down the same sort of route? You said you let him go from the gates last time at Musselburgh. Would that be a similar plan back on the big stage?
I don't think anybody needs to question the way Overturn's ridden, you know, and there's things in the paper about horses taking him on and so on. Well, he's led Chester Cups, Northumberland Plates and champion hurdles. I don't see why anything should change. That's just his way of racing, and if something wants to go quicker than him, then get on with it and good luck, you know. But he has his way of doing things, and if we can get him spot on the day, and like I say, I'd love to bit of nice good to soft ground on the first day of the festival, and it'll be exciting stuff.
Well, it's a very uncomplicated horse, Andy, but now he's going to go from the front, and I guess the question is, can he hang on when Simonsig looms large, probably coming down the hill?
Yeah, and it will make for an exciting spectacle. I think the interesting thing with this horse is that last time out, in particular at Musselburgh, the course and distance there was always going to suit him massively, and the second horse, Tetlami, never jumped a fence. Probably wants a stiffer test than that. So he hasn't again, he's another one that hasn't beaten very much, but what he's done in absolutely sort of scintillating style, and you know, he's going to take it from the front. I think in terms of a betting situation, you're looking at the choice of, do you want Simonsig at what, 4-6,
8-11,
or do you want to back Overturn, who probably will look very good at the top of the hill, and take a point out of him in trading? And I think there'll be plenty of people taking that option, because then you don't need to worry about what happens beyond there. You can trade out for a free bet and probably win as much as you would win on Simonsig by trading out at the top of the hill. I think you've got an opportunity with Overturn, I think.
And with Overturn, he's now a 9-year-old. And as a racing analyst, would you look back and say, well, there's been no 9-year-old Arkle winner since what, 1956? Would that be something you'd hold against him?
I think there are statistics, and I'm not sure I'd be too concerned about that one. I mean, you'd have to then look at Overturn's overall profile and say, well, how many 9-year-olds have won this race and that race and won over hurdles and won? It doesn't happen. This is an unusual horse, and a very special horse. I mean, wouldn't you like to own Overturn?
That's been tremendous, hasn't he? Yeah,
fantastic.
Well, the Irish Challenge headed up by Arvika Ligeonniere of Willie Mullins. Andy looked very good early part of the season, but hasn't quite carried that form through.
No, 3 runs ago, the race before the one we're watching now, he looked really, really special. And if anybody had said, you can have 10-1 for him, non-runner, no bet for the Arkle after that performance, then you would have snapped the hands off. And you know, the fickle nature of punting and punditry means that he's had 2 runs. I mean, this one here, my thoughts on this race are that he probably, dropping back in trip, he probably went too quickly, which added to the fact that, which created the fact that he was tired on the run-in and only beat those horses in a bit of a struggle. Next time out, it was interesting that he was about 9 or 10 seconds slower as he approached the fourth last. Now, obviously, it was softer ground. You've got to factor that in, but it was a lot slower, and I think he probably would have ended up an impressive winner that day. Unfortunately, he took a soft fall 4 out, which is one of the reasons why he's 10-1. He's a very unlucky horse to come up against a 165 on a 160 horse in an Arkle. I mean, he's rated 157, and 2 years ago, Captain Chris won off 153. You know, he's very, very unlucky to come to this race and to see 2 special horses in opposition.
So we've got Captain Conan there at 16-1. He's likely to go for the juice, and Beneficent and Oscar as well. We saw both those 2 in action, and behind Arvika Ligeonniere. Twin Lights then at 40-1. So it does look to be a 2-horse race, Andy. Simonsig to 11, Overturn 11-4. Just remind us of your betting strategy for the Racing Post Arkle.
Well, as I say, I think there are for big punters, there are those 2 choices. You either hammer Simonsig or you take a point out of Overturn, get out at the top of the hill. If I was opposing Simonsig, I think I would rather believe that if he's going to lose, it's because he's not going to get round or something's going to go wrong. And in that sense, I would probably rather play small on a reverse forecast with Overturn and Arvika Ligeonniere, because I don't think there's a lot beyond them in the betting.